What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for another Tottenham update. This is the update of rejected bids, apparently, as, well, this one's not a rejected bid, but we're getting to get into the Emerson Royal story, as Corriere dello Sport saying that Tottenham fullback Emerson Royal has agreed to slash his wages in a bid to join AC Milan. Milan have agreement on terms with Emerson already and continue to work on finding agreeable terms with Tottenham Hotspur, which obviously is a very hard task for most clubs.
Yeah, I'm surprised, though, if that is the case, because how much is he actually on at Tottenham? Is he on that much? He has to slash them to join a team like AC Milan, who I assume give fairly decent wages. Obviously not maybe at the Premier League level, but is he forced to slash him? He can't be on over 100, is he, at Tottenham?
Emerson Royal is currently on, this can't be right, 40 grand a week.
It might be right. Why?
Well, sure, I'm saying it can't be right in terms of those are the wages that are going to be slashed.
Yeah, like 40 grand a week. I mean, that sounds about right that he's on, because I don't think he signed a new deal since he's come to Tottenham. We signed him.
Yeah, but you would have thought he would have been on more than that at Barcelona.
Not necessarily.
No?
No, because he was a youngster. He was a young player. He was like a young Brazilian fullback, which they loaned him out to Betis, didn't they?
Yeah, his Betis wages apparently at the top was 17.
Yeah, I think that makes sense for me. Because he was a young defender, he wouldn't necessarily have been on more than 40. I think he probably got a bump. So for me, to slash those wages doesn't make too much sense. So I don't know if that's true.
Yeah, it might be. It might not be, but that's the story.
Unless he's on more than that, and that website's wrong. I don't know. But surely, if he's on 40 grand a week, he's not slashing those.
Yeah, you would have thought so.
You would have thought we got a pay rise.
Yeah, you would have thought so, but I don't know. I don't know what Milan's wage structure is like.
Look, I know that teams in Serie A aren't looking to pay extortionate wages. I'm sure if he was pushing 100 grand a week, then yes. But at 40 grand, I'm sure that's a middle of the road wage for them.
It's about halfway. I mean, it would be similar kind of wages to someone like Simon Kjær of Denmark.
Yeah.
But he's on 36.
That's middle of the road. A new signing, a young defender.
Reinders as well. The Dutch internationals on 41,000 euros.
That sounds to me like Emerson should be on that amount.
Malik Thior, who's obviously a good defender for them, is on 19,000 euros.
Okay. Yeah, so it sounds to me like that story's rubbish. If Emerson's wages are really 40 grand, surely his agent is not accepting a wage slash.
And you've got players like Ruben Loftus-Cheek who are on nearly 100 grand a week.
Yeah, right, come on. That doesn't make sense.
Next up, we're going to talk about incomings. Eberechi Eze, once again, Fabrizio Romano says that Tottenham really appreciate Eberechi Eze, surprise, surprise. But the problem at the moment is, guess what? The release clause. Nothing is advanced or concrete at this moment in time. Nothing is imminent between Tottenham, Palace and Eberechi Eze. And we all knew the sticking point was always going to be this release clause.
Yeah, first of all, we probably have to wait till he comes back from the Euros anyway. He's clearly subject to a lot of interest of a lot of top clubs. I don't think he's going to be making any deals while he's away with England, concentrating on winning the Euros and getting as far as possible, albeit he's not getting maybe as many minutes as he would like out there. I think the big problem for Tottenham isn't necessarily the price; it's the structure of the deal. I reckon that's going to be the big sticking point for Tottenham. They don't like to pay a lot of their money up front, and that's what they're going to have to do to get Eze over the line, I think. And we know the quality of Eze. We would both love him through the door, but it's whether Tottenham will stump up that money. Whereas there's interest from Arsenal apparently, and I reckon if Arsenal were really serious about him and they really want him, they would do that. Yeah, I don't think we would. Yeah, we would balk at that. Like that's the history of how we've done deals anyway. Yeah,
and I feel like as well, once Palace tell you a price, once that Palace tell Daniel Levy a price, he's always going to try and lower that price, and the negotiations will be drawn out, and then someone like Arsenal could just come in straight away and just be like, you know what, we'll just take him.
Well, they know the price because there's a release clause. So it's not about Palace saying the price. That's the price. But
but there's only a release clause if you pay up front. There's no release clause if they want to pay in instalments. And if they want to pay in instalments as well, probably they'll try and lowball them as well.
Yeah, correct. Daniel Levy's going to structure the deal to best fit Tottenham. And even if it means too much short-term strain on the finances, he won't do the deal. And that's the reality of the situation. I don't know. I don't know what our short-term finances look like, because obviously we weren't in Champions League last year. So whether we've taken a hit there and he doesn't want to double it down by paying a lot of money up front, maybe that's what he's thinking. I, for one, I think someone like Eze, I think there's got to be special circumstances for a player like him to bring him at the club. But look, I don't think it's out of the question that we do it. But I don't think it's a decision we're going to kind of do straight away. I feel like it'll take a lot of thinking and a lot of posturing, and whether we decide to do it, have to wait and see.
Yeah, for me, I'm starting to really question if this deal's going to go through at all throughout the summer. We know how Spurs like to do deals. This is not the way Spurs like to do deals. We don't like to be held to ransom by anyone, and this is kind of what Daniel Levy will feel like it is. It's either their way or no way, and more than likely it will be no way, in my opinion. Let's talk about Jacob Ramsey, which is a really interesting development. Ali Gold says there is definite interest in Jacob Ramsey from Tottenham, which has been driven by Johan Lange since January, but the feeling is that Villa are unlikely to sell. The Daily Express broke this story yesterday, saying Aston Villa have rejected a bid from Tottenham for Jacob Ramsey. Spurs offered £20 million plus Giovanni Lo Celso. Gary Jacob did back that up and said Tottenham submitted a $20 million offer for Aston Villa for Jacob Ramsey, a deal that would involve Giovanni Lo Celso moving in the opposite direction. It was rejected as Aston Villa value the player at 20 to 50 million pounds. Fabrizio Romano said that the bid for Jacob Ramsey is true, but the bid did come weeks ago, not in the recent days. However, Dan Kilpatrick, as of today, says that Tottenham are weighing up an improved bid for Aston Villa's Jacob Ramsey after having an offer of 20 million plus Giovanni Lo Celso rejected.
It's an interesting one, because I think a year ago I was quite positive about him, and I thought he had a really great season for Aston Villa. He was getting quite regular goal contributions. He was a young central midfielder, could also play on the wing. He's a really good ball carrier. Has this really good knack of being at the right place at the right time in the box as well. So I do like him. Didn't have a great season last season. Was hit by injuries. Didn't play as many games as he did the previous 2 seasons. Wasn't as effective for Aston Villa. Didn't find himself in the team as much. Still a good player. The problem is, maybe I feel like this deal is because maybe if the Eze deal was going to be proved to be too expensive, maybe they're thinking, well, he's going to be half the price, and he's or at least a lot cheaper, and he's a young, versatile English midfielder who could fill a few roles for Tottenham, could play both number 8 positions, could even do a job on the left wing. But the thing is, I think he's a good player. I don't think he moves the needle much for Tottenham. I don't think he's a massive improvement on what we have. For example, the deal that you've said there, Ramsey for Lo Celso, I don't think Ramsey's a better player than Lo Celso, to be honest.
I think he can be a better player than Lo Celso. He's very young, Ramsey, 23 years of age.
I don't think technically he's better.
I mean, I'm not sure. I don't think maybe it's been proved just yet, but I think he's got a lot of kind of improvement in terms of his ability. I do think he can get there.
No, I agree. I think he's a young player who's done really well in his early stage of the Premier League. I'm saying from a point of view where I look at his ability to pass the ball, I think his shooting technique, that kind of stuff, I think Lo Celso is ahead of him on that stuff. I'm not saying we should keep Lo Celso, because obviously Ramsey in previous seasons has been a lot more available, and Lo Celso has a horrible injury record. I'm saying if injuries weren't a problem, actually Lo Celso's a better player than Ramsey. Ramsey obviously potentially has a higher ceiling. I'm not convinced by it, but it potentially does. I think he's got more physicality than Lo Celso. He's stronger. He's a bit more of a powerful runner. But I think when it comes to, if you're playing against a team who's sitting in a low block, I'd much rather have a Lo Celso in my team than a Ramsey. But I do appreciate Ramsey's versatility. I do appreciate what he would bring to Tottenham. I just don't know. I think he improves the level of the squad, especially because he's available and he is versatile. I don't think he would be very good left wing in our system, to be honest. He could maybe do a job there on occasion. I don't think playing left wing regularly for him in our system would do him good. I don't think he'd do a good job there.
I don't think he's coming in to play left wing. I think it's more from central areas.
I'm just saying, if we're saying he's a versatile player, I don't think left wing he would be very good there. I think in the 2 number 8s though, he could play either of those positions quite well. So I like the idea of bringing him in. But if they've rejected 20 million plus Lo Celso, how much is it going to take to bring him in? That's
maybe
the question.
if they say they value him at 40 to 50 million, surely maybe adding 10 million to that price, 30 million plus Lo Celso could get it done if they really want him, because we know that Unai Emery likes Lo Celso. He's had him before. There is interest there. So I think if we could get a deal done for 30 million plus Lo Celso, that's a deal I'd probably do.
Then that definitely rules out Eze, I would say.
Yeah. I mean, like I said before, I don't think Eze is getting done anyway.
But as I'm saying, I'd much rather Eze would be a much better deal than
Look,
Ramsey.
there's no question about it. Eze would be a much better deal to do, but is that deal going to be too hard to do for Tottenham and the way Daniel Levy likes to structure his deals? So if we can't get Eze through the door, obviously Eze is the number one priority, but if we can't, that's a deal I'll definitely do.
30 million plus the Celso is decent. That's not a terrible outlay for Tottenham. You get rid of a player who we're trying to sell. You bring in Ramsey, you can improve the squad. I think it would be a decent deal. I don't think it's a incredible deal, which means that we're serious. I'm not saying it's a bad deal. I'm just saying I don't think it moves the needle massively for Tottenham. This kind of deal, in my opinion, I think he's a good player, improves the squad depth, but I don't think a Ramsey gets us closer to the top three.
No, but it does improve that squad depth that we have been lacking. And I think as well, throughout the years, after maybe a season or so, he could be pushing for a starting spot in the team. You never know about the development, and I think his development can go up a few notches, especially under an attacking manager like Ange Postecoglou. I believe in his talents. I really do. I really like Jacob Ramsey. Let's talk about Ricardo Calafiori. Fabrizio Romano says, at the moment, Tottenham Hotspur have not entered the conversation for Bologna defender Ricardo Calafiori, but they are very attentive to the Italian market, as we all know. So we saw the report yesterday saying we have entered talks with Calafiori, but Fabrizio Romano has just told us we haven't.
Maybe he's behind the game. Yeah, Romano, he doesn't have the right Italian sources, I feel like. We have to wait and see. I think Calafiori, as we've said before, I think he's clearly a player that Tottenham are going to want. We've seen at the Euros how good he is. We saw for Bologna how good he was last season. He'd be a perfect fit for us. It would be stupid not to want him. So I'm sure Tottenham want him. But I think we're probably seeing how things are developing with this potential move to Juve before we kind of make our move. And also, we're probably seeing if the price is going up as well before we make our move. So it doesn't surprise me that we're waiting a bit. And also, I don't think he's going to be moving while he's a big part of Italy at the Euros as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, he's been heavily linked with Arsenal at the moment as well, with their need for a centre back, a left back. I think I think he'd obviously prefer a move to Arsenal over Spurs. Unfortunately,
I'm sure we've put in inquiries. I doubt we haven't put out some feelers. We might not be in official talks, but I reckon we've probably put out some feelers to see where his head's at.
Hope so. Let's talk about this deal. And when you talk about opportunistic, Tottenham have tried to be opportunistic in this situation, as Demasio says that Tottenham have offered Richarlison plus money for Alexander Isak. However, Newcastle rejected the proposal. Isak is happy at the club under contract till 2028. However, Newcastle must make a huge sale before June the 30th. Yeah, I mean, even before I got to the end of it, you could have probably guessed that the deal was rejected. Why the hell would Newcastle ever accept money plus Richarlison for Alexander Isak? That's never going to happen.
Well, it depends how much money it is. Surely.
Yeah, but I don't think they're accepting a deal for Isak. I think there's many other sellable assets in their team, and Isak's probably, the number one that they have in their squad that they're not going to get rid of.
Yeah, of course. Isak's the player who was a star for them last season. He's one of the best strikers in the Premier League, 21 goals. It depends how desperate they are to sell. Obviously, if Tottenham are making a bid, they must have heard from somewhere that they really do need to make a big sale before the end of the season. Whether it be Guimaraes, whether it be Isak, whether it be, Gordon. I'm not going to sell Gordon. So apparently when Chelsea inquired for Isak, then Newcastle said he's going to cost over 115 million. Now, they've put a price tag on him. If the reports are to be believed, then Tottenham's offer was 40 million plus. It was 40 million plus Richarlison.
Is that what they said, 40 million?
That's what I read. I don't know if that's true, but I read it was 40 million plus Richarlison. That would, from Tottenham's point of view, if Richarlison's still a value of what we signed him for, which is 50 million, they've bid 90 million. So that's obviously still quite away from Newcastle's valuation. But if I'm Newcastle, they do have to make a sale, and they do get a big fee plus Richarlison, depending how big that fee is. And then maybe you use that fee, you get a Jonathan David who's actually quite similar in profile to Isak, I would say, in terms of how they play and their style of play. All of a sudden, you could have Richarlison and David as your two strikers, with Wilson going as well. I think he's about to leave this summer, and maybe still a large pot of money to play with to improve the team. So it wouldn't be the worst deal in the world, but if you're Newcastle, you're obviously going to try your best to keep your prized asset in Isak. You're not going to let him go easy, and I don't think a bid of 40 million is probably going to have to be like pushing 70 million plus Richarlison for them to consider it, I would say. So I don't think Tottenham would go that far, in my opinion. But depends how desperate they are to sell him as well, whether they're ever going to entertain any offer. But as I was saying, if they do need to sell Isak and they do need to replace him, bringing in someone like Richarlison is not the worst thing in the world.
I mean, when you're replacing Isak for Richarlison, that's a massive downgrade, in my opinion. Absolutely massive. So Newcastle are trying to improve. Like I said, I do think there are other sellable assets. There's talking about some academy players going for quite extensive rates. Minte, I think, is going back to Holland or some other place that they're going to get a significant fee for. We don't know how much they actually need to bring in from now until June the 30th. But under no circumstances does this still happen. It's just nothing. It's just not going to happen.
No, of course not. It's not going to happen unless Tottenham put a lot of money up front, in my opinion. Like, as I say, I think a strike pairing of Richarlison and Jonathan David is pretty good, I would say. And there's a lot to work with there, even if they do sell Isak. But I don't see them entertaining an offer from their rival unless it's a big outlay plus a player. And I don't think Tottenham would give the outlay that Newcastle would be looking for, in my opinion.
Absolutely not. Let's finish off talking about a weird one. Joan Garcia from Dario AS. I mean, well, he's not from Dario AS. He's a goalkeeper that we've been linked with. Tottenham have made a proposal to Spanish shot-stopper Joan Garcia. The goalkeeper is most tempted by the offer from Spurs, despite interest from elsewhere. Espanyol want close to his €25 million release clause. A very strange one. I know we've got obviously Big Vic there. We've got Brandon Austin, who we've just given a long contract to. We've got Alfie Whiteman still at the club. We've got Fraser Forster, who has a year left on his deal. And
we've get a five-a-side team going.
Literally, with the situation that we've got at the moment as well, with the homegrown numbers and foreign quota and the club train numbers, it's just very strange to me that we'd be going after a keeper 23 years of age that is not from England as well. He is a player that broke into the Espanyol side last season halfway through the year and did start for the last 10, 15 games of the season. Spanish under-21 international, even though he hasn't played there for a couple of years now. It's just one that doesn't really make sense to me.
It does make sense to me. The only way it would make sense is if we are planning to sign him and then loan him out and wait for the situation with the homegrown to sort itself out, and then the following season he could be a number 2 and we've got that situation resolved. But that's a quite hefty outlay to do that if they're asking for 25 million. Look, maybe we've seen a player break into the Espanyol team. He's quite young for a keeper. He's 23. He's just broken into the team. So maybe we've seen a bit of value there. Look, this is a young keeper. He's shown exceptional potential early on. Maybe we've seen something that other clubs haven't seen yet. But to spend 25 million on him, to waste another foreign spot in the squad wouldn't make any sense this season. So the only way I would see it making sense is if we loan him out again. But I don't know, is it, unless if we really think it's worth it. But that would mean, for me, we see him as potential new number 1 if we were to do that kind of thing. Wouldn't do that just to bring him in as number 2.
Do we not have like more pressing issues to worry about right now? You know what I mean?
I just don't think we're going to be signing a keeper right now like that. But I could be wrong, but I'll be very surprised if we're willing to spend 25 million on him. No.
I don't think you are wrong. I mean, I think this is just made out of nothing. Maybe there's interest from elsewhere and Espanyol are trying to drive up the price or something for someone else, but I can't see this one, being a go at whatsoever. We've got so many issues that we need to sort out in this window, and then suddenly a goalkeeper that we don't need pops out of nowhere.
We've already wasted a foreign spot on Werner. And now we're going to waste another one on Garcia.
Yeah, not happening. But anyway, that is your Tottenham update for today. Obviously, we'll keep you updated if anything else develops throughout the day. But thank you, everyone, for joining us. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.